So I've just taken a pallet apart. As you know, if you've ever looked at a pallet, it'll have blocks of wood obviously separating the two, like the top and the bottom of it, so you can get forks in for a pallet truck or a forklift. Now the one I've taken apart has got wooden blocks in like this, which I'll use for something maybe the same thing as I'm using this for. But it did also have these, and these are obviously chipboard. And they're not really much use to me at all. I was gonna bin them, but something I've wanted to try for a while for some strange reason is to turn chipboard. Now it's probably one of my less brilliant ideas, I guess, but I've made a start on this one, so I'm just going to make a simple set of tea light holders, see what they turn out like. I think maybe with some polishing up and that, it might actually look quite interesting. I mean, there's all sorts in here. There's a piece of metal there, and I think I did see some plastic, I'm pretty sure. So chipboard is literally just compressed wood fibre. There's loads of it, you know, so sort of handfuls of that compressed into a block. So yeah, I'm going to turn this and this one into a tea light holder. This one I've already started, so what I've done is used a Forstner bit to make a hole in one side, and I've used it to do the same on the other side, just so that I can mount it on the lathe. I've kept the shape simple because it's chipboard. You're not really going to get, I mean, there's a chunk sort of out of there, but I think for something like this that probably adds to it. But for something where you want a little bit of detail and that, don't use chipboard, use proper wood, or what I would consider to be proper wood. So I'm just going to turn this so it's roughly rounded on each end, give it a sand, put a hole top and bottom so I can mount it on the lathe and turn it round and sand it. And this one I've coated it with one coat of sanding sealer. That was another thing. I didn't really know what to finish it with, was the thing. I mean, I could coat it in a resin, I guess, but I'm just going to try and once this is set, maybe give it another coat of sanding sealer. Just try and sand it so it's as smooth as it'll get, and then wax it and see what happens. I might even use, I've got some slightly coloured waxes, so I might have a go with one of them, see if it brings out some of the detail. But I think, see, there's a little bit of plastic there and there. That's probably plastic as well. But I thought it might, you know, well, maybe clear wax would be a better idea. So anyway, enough waffling on. I'm going to turn this carefully round, and then or roundish, give it a good sand, or as well as it will get, and see what happens. I am going to be wearing goggles and a mask because obviously it's chipboard, you don't really know what's in it, and you should really wear protection on your eyes, and especially protection for your lungs whenever you're doing any woodworking. So anyway, let's see what we can do with this. Right, that's as much as I'm going to turn it round. You can still see where it's not quite. The rest I'll do with very coarse sandpaper, and I'll work my way down. But first things first, I want to make the hole, excuse me, a bit of wood in my face, make the hole in there a bit bigger, and obviously I need to turn it down a little bit because this one's a bit smaller. Right, so what's that one? I'm just going to increase the size of this hole a little bit. Okay, so now I need to roughly, I'm just going to do this roughly. As I say, it's a bit of an experiment. I have no idea if this will turn out. Yeah, close enough. Right, so I'm going to start sanding now. Like I said, I'm going to start with coarse grit. So this is 80, and I've just got one of these little sanding discs, and I'm going to put it into cordless drill. Better do that bit up. And this is where the mask will come in. So make sure there's no spiders in it. Okay. Time for a bit of sanding. It is starting to come a bit smoother, or as smooth as it's likely to get. You can see with this one, look, there's a piece of, I don't know what that is, looks like plastic. Kind of looks like, and there's a blue bit there, that must be plastic as well. It kind of looks like stuff that got swept up off the floor, really. I could try getting the shape I want more with chisels, but to be honest with you, I'm not that confident that the wood will hold up to much more. I mean, there's a big chunk missing out of here. I expected that, if I'm honest. Anyway, I'll keep on with the sanding and we'll see how we get on. Okay, as you can see, starting to get there. Almost the same size, not far off it, I don't think, but it's still got some sanding to go. Yeah, so I'll just carry on with that. Once I've got it sanded this side, I'll flip it over in the lathe, sand the other way. That seems to give a smoother finish, but yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so there it is, more or less the same shape as the other one. So now I'm just going to paint a load of this on, and this is sanding sealer. The idea of this stuff is you put it on, you let it dry, and then you sand it with a fine sandpaper, something like a 240 or 320 grit, and it kind of seals it, gives you a nice finish so that you can apply a wax or whatever you want to it. So I'm just going to put this on as liberally as I can, and I think this will help the wood stick together a bit as well. Then I'm going to get the other one, so this one, which has already had the sanding sealer on, give it a light sand with a very fine sandpaper, like I said, like a 320, 240, something like that, and then wax it and we'll see what we get. Okay, so I'll just finish coating this and see what happens. So I've kept it simple because I'm not sure the wood's, well, it's not really wood, is it? But I'm not sure that it's up to too much messing about and it might fall apart on the lathe, and we don't want that. Okay, there we go. I think that'll do. This stuff takes about half an hour or so to dry, and you can let it dry, sand it, and then reapply it. So it's good stuff. and you do get a really nice finish with it when it's done. I made a bowl recently out of witch elm, and I used this on it, and the shine is really quite good considering it's just wax and a bit of this. Okay, so there's that nicely coated. Just got to remember to do the other side actually. I don't think the finish is going to get much better than it is, as I say, because it's basically just chunks of random bits of wood and God knows what else. I'm surprised it's actually as smooth as it is. Anyway, right, there's that done. I'll put that to one side to dry, or set, and then I will give this one a sand and wax it and see what happens. So I'll use quite fine grade sandpaper. So I've got some 240 grit up here. So I'll give it a go with that, see what happens. You can see it's already got a bit of a shine to it. Definitely a piece of metal in there. So if you ever try this, be careful, because if you catch your chisel with that, it might blunt it. And I'm just going to go with a spot of clear wax, I think. So we'll put it on quite liberally and let it dry, and then we'll see what we've got. So they're not the smoothest of things. I can still feel that there's a little bit sticking up, but you're not going to get a perfect finish on it considering what it is. I don't know, it's kind of got a nice look to it, if I'm honest. Quite pleased with it myself. Plenty of wax. And we'll let this set for a while, and then I'll come back and give them a polish, and we'll see what we end up with. Okay. Right, I'm just finishing off the last one. Here's the two I've already made. They are shinier than I thought they would get. They're not quite the same. These are quite heavy actually as well. But there they are. And obviously the third one. Not much to say other than that really. It's very dusty, as you can see. And the wood is, obviously you're not going to get like a perfect finish. There are little chunks and what have you out of them, but I think they kind of look appealing. There's I don't know, there's something I quite like about them. And they are recycled. I mean, that bit of the palette, I couldn't really think of a use for it, but now I've got a set of tea lights, and I've made quite a few over the years out of blocks of pallets, but never out of chipboard. So that's something I can cross off my list. Would I do it again? Probably not, because it's messy and dusty, and I don't know really, you just can't get a good finish on it. But other than that, yeah, no, I probably wouldn't try it again. So I'm just going to finish this one off. I'm just going to give it a well, it's as smooth as it's going to get, let's put it that way. So I'm just going to wax it and give it a bit of a buff up, and that'll be it. So there we go. That's a couple of bits of chipboard from a pallet turned into tea light holders. Alright, thanks for watching.